Friday. Da, 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 da. Thank God it's Friday. Yes, thank God it's Friday. It's Friday and TGIF. You know what it is, guys. It is a wonderful weekend. Here we are on Cactv, the Morning Dew, and we are about to take the newspaper review. I am your host, Timothy Dominic.
And my name is Olatipo. Good morning to you, viewers at home.
All right, thank you so much for joining us and staying tuned. So right now we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the quote for the day and also the news making headlines around the globe. Please stay tuned. Yes, welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. So quickly, let's take a look at the quotes that we have for today. And what we're looking at today is from Ephesians 4:32, that says, "Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave us." Okay, so this is charging us to forgive one another and show kindness to everyone around us. Do not pay evil with evil, because that is not what Christ expects of us. In everything, in as much as we're human, we are falling short of His glory somehow, and He still finds a way to forgive us. He still forgives us in as much as we go back to Him and ask for forgiveness. So today's charge is for us to make today a forgiving day and a day to be kind to one another, extend hand of grace to one another, just as Christ has shown us grace and He has shown us mercy. So we are still here by His mercies. So why not show mercy to somebody? Do not pay evil for evil. That person has done me bad, I must pay him back to back. And you know what that does? At the end of the day, it turns out worse than what the person has already done, and you may not be able to amend it. So now that you can, while you can amend it, do what you have to do and show love to one another, forgive one another, just as Christ has laid down a fantastic example for us all. So that is the charge that we have for you today. So let's dive right into the business of the day. You know what it is. We'll take a newspaper review, and starting with the Punch newspaper as always. So our first story says, Forex crisis, CBN raises dollar supply, lifts ban on cement and 42 other items. The Central Bank of Nigeria has said it is raising dollars supply in the foreign exchange market, just as it is also lifted the ban on 43 items that were previously not qualified for the forex at the official market. The decision came after the naira tumbled to 1,050 naira per dollar at the parallel market on Thursday, following the pressure from international organization and experts. Okay, so it was also said, reported by the Punch earlier, noted despite unifying exchange rate, the CBN had in June said that the status quo remained on the 43 non-eligible items banned from the forex market introduced under the former governor Godwin Emefiele. So that's the first story that we have from the Punch newspaper. So so I would like to hear your view on this, Engineer.
Well, you see, what I have to say on this is that there is no continuity at all. It's like the Nigerian economies are moving forward and backward, like a pendulum of a clock moving forward and backward. You know, the main problem of the economy is foreign exchange. And when the foreign exchange is on the high note, that means in the economy we are exporting our commodities. But when you devalue, this is devaluation of the naira. The exchange rate today is about 1,050 naira. So if you are exporting, that means that the commodities will be very, very cheap to purchase outside the country. But when you are importing and you devalue the naira, the imported goods will become very, very expensive in the country. So I do not see any continuity with what is happening now. So many products were banned from coming to the country because we want to revamp the economy. Among them, vegetable materials. If Nigeria could still be importing vegetable oil, you know, at this particular moment, something is wrong with our agricultural sector.
Honestly.
If we are importing palm oil, crude palm oil into the country,
and this is what we have right
and this
here.
is what we have. When Malaysia came to this country to take seedlings, we had knife for Enugu. You know, Awolowo established this company because of palm oil, but now reverse is the case. Now you want to open the port for the importation of rubber when we have rubber in Nigeria. What are we doing?
I think the basic thing is we are not paying attention to the things that we have, and that's the problem we have right now. That's why we keep going back and forth on things.
Because there's a very big problem in our agricultural sector. Because of this Boko Haram issue, farmers cannot go to the farm as it was before. Our food basket has collapsed. Now, a foreigner is now coming to tell us that because of this and that,
that's why there's a fall in
that is why there's a fall in our foreign exchange that is floating. That this is what we have to do. But when you look at the credentials of the person who is talking, now you realize that the guy may even be a journalist. I have said it severally that the European Union, let me say the West, do not wish any country in Africa well. If they wish us well, they will not be giving us Igbo Didi. That is when you have a very thick forest and you give a cutlass to a boy, cut those grass, he won't be able to do anything. The economy cannot move if we don't sit down on our round table and think inward that what can we do to solve this problem.
So
look at China.
My question is these things not achievable? Because our government are making it seem like it's something that cannot be achieved. Looking at what we are being, we're talking about being imported: rubber, plastic, cloth, textiles, palm oil. In fact, the palm oil part, the oil part is even what is amazing to me. Because
we have all these materials in Nigeria.
So I'm wondering, is it something that is not achievable? Do they need? Is there something special they need to make this work, to make this?
We have petrochemicals in Nigeria. That is the raw materials for plastic industry. We have palm oil. We are no longer cultivating palm oil. We are importing palm oil into the country. We have vegetable oil. What happened to the pyramid of peanuts in the north? It has collapsed. So you see, it's like we don't understand what we are doing. If you do not build our agricultural sector, the economy will still collapse. Look at China. China closed the door for many years. And see what China is doing today. Practically everything is made in China. We have lithium in this country for making of battery. We are not doing that. Even the petroleum we have in the country, we are still importing it. So something is wrong. Something is wrong, and it is that maybe the government has to look inward again and do a lot of background check up. for people who are becoming our ministers. If you are the minister of agriculture, you should be able to revamp.
You should know what people need.
You should know. You should know what we have in the country. Somebody who studied history at the university, of course, that doesn't really matter because you have so many PAs who major on agriculture. They should be able to advise you and tell you that okay, these commodities are not them in abundance in this country. If we take this step, when we are saying, we used to say, be Nigeria, buy Nigeria. What do we mean is that if you are a Nigerian, now before you know it, we'll be importing garri from Ivory Coast. Is that where we now start talking? It's like we don't know what we are doing. Somebody cannot just come into the country. Somebody who studied in Russia or studied in America or studied in England will come to your country and start telling you that you have to import this, you have to import this. Then what is happening to our university education?
For me, I also think that our people are not being equipped to do these things.
It is not that they are not being equipped. There are two things to it. Either you lack the knowledge or you are lazy. No, you can't tell me that okay, in the Igbo community, most of the food, some of the food they eat, they take raw palm fruit, they boil it, they cook it, and they use it to make soup. But now, that is what they've been doing from time immemorial, and they're still doing it till now. You go to the market, you say, I want to buy palm fruit. I remember in those days, my mother, when she came from Ghana, she used to do that too, with palm fruit. But today in Nigeria now, when the palm fruit are scarce, the palm oil will be scarce. Now, very soon we'll be importing garri from Ivory Coast. We have cassava in this country, and yes, we are crying. If Nigeria is now importing rubber, what happened to rubber? The rubber plantation at Araromi Iwoki Peppermint. What happened to them?
Well, I'll take your second point, which you said that people have either been lazy
or they lack the knowledge.
So I'll take that being lazy, because my aunt came back from home yesterday, and she was saying that things are very expensive back home, and I'm like, how can things be expensive back home where they have all the very fresh, they can just go into the farm and get stuff. She said people no longer want to farm. Nobody wants to go into the farm, and so everybody is just trying to see how they can do the white collar job, and the white collar job is not forthcoming. So people have either been lazy to go into the farm, and the older ones, and she made a statement that the older ones are no longer there.
If you don't introduce mechanized farming, how do you expect a graduate to go to the farm with his own and cutlass? No, it's not possible. All over the world is mechanized farming.
So now you would agree with me that on the second look of things, you would agree with me that they are not being equipped, because now, just like you used the illustration that they are giving you have a bush right in front of you, and then you are given cutlass. How would you clear that? How fast will that be when when you are not equipped? Because when you are equipped with the right mechanism, if you are equipped with the engines that you need, I know there are engines who will help you clear farms in the space of how many minutes you're done clearing. But if you're just using cutlass, you can't do that in the space of how many weeks. So I think they also need to be equipped. Those who are ready to work, if they are being equipped, I'm sure they will be encouraged.
But again, when you look back again at the engineering sectors in Nigeria, you remember that when Babangida was Nigerian president, he encouraged farming, and then he encouraged local fabrication of farming equipment. But today, if you want to buy let me just say an oven for making bread, and now produced locally in Nigeria, but these people are not encouraged. You can buy a bread making oven in Nigeria for about 600,000 naira just to make a bag of flour in a day. Does it worth it? When you want to buy from abroad, it's far away, very, very cheaper. When you subsidize, instead of subsidizing petrol, when you subsidize agricultural equipment and then partner with producers outside the country, come to this country with your agricultural equipment. This will enable farmers, you understand now, to go to the farm and farm very well. Mm-hmm. Because now nobody wants to go to the farm because of what? Because there are no equipment to use. Nobody wants to use his energy again. on the farm.
For things that they know that they can do with ease.
Yes.
All right, so let's take a look at the second story that we have. And this says, articles evidence from Chicago irrelevant, Tinubu tells Supreme Court. President Bola Tinubu has asked the Supreme Court to discountenance his Chicago State University academic record attached by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, to his election country. Tinubu asserted that the CSU discovery was not part of the record or the judgment of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, urging the Apex Court not to admit it. So we have that story. Okay, so moving further, I think, and let me read it to a point so we can all understand what we're talking about. So the president further said that the former vice president had the habit of first filling a petition and forwards hunting for evidence, noting that he had inhabited that while appealing the tribunal judgment. The president, in his response to Atiku appeal that was filed on Saturday by his lawyer, led by Wole Olanipekun San, held that the claim that is the credential was also the credentials contained discrepancies was merely cooked up by the PDP standard bearer in the February presidential election. Okay, so that's the second story that we have. So
What do you expect Tinubu to say? I mean, his lawyers to say? He will say, dismiss his motion that my documents are counterfeit. Then what do you expect Atiku to do? Atiku will go to court and say, no,
so
I want to prove a point.
So now it's a back and forth thing.
I want to prove a point that, but all these rigmarollings is putting Nigeria, negatively on the foreign scene.
For me, it's actually putting Nigeria on hold because
one thing is that it's like an embarrassment that when you try to watch your public, if you call your wife a mad woman, your neighbors will call her smart woman, come here. You started it. You understand now? Well, we cannot say much on this because the matter is in court. So it's against the law for anybody to start commenting on what is
what has not been concluded yet.
The Supreme Court will do the right thing and then we'll hide the result. So we'll be waiting for the results.
All right, so let's take a look at the next story that we have still on the Punch newspaper. This says UK varsities seek NUC's approval to operate in Nigeria. Officials from the London Academy, Business School and the University of Sunderland are currently seeking approval from the National Universities Commission to run degree programs in Nigeria. A delegation from the University of Sunderland, led by Dr. Derek Watson, confirmed this after a meeting with the acting executive secretary of the NUC, Chris Mayaki, in Abuja, according to a statement released on Thursday. According to that statement, Watson said an associate professor from the Faculty of Business Law and Tourism was quoted to have said the meeting with the executive secretary was very productive. The University of Sunderland has over 30 years of experience. We were the first UK universities to make the market. So I think this is also a welcome idea. Okay, so because we have a lot of people saying that, well, I have scholarship over there, and then you use that as an excuse. My pastor was jokingly said that one of your choir members came and said that he has scholarship in overseas, so he will be traveling, and then he will come back after 2 years, and the program is after 2 years. But he says, I know that he will not come back again. Once they have opportunity of just going, just use the academics of I'm going to school. Then before you know, he's from school, and then they are now staying there, working over there, and then before you know. So I think this is a welcome idea. Let me hear you.
No, you see, this is one of the principles of the modern art, that what goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. This is the law of the earth. They came here to educate us, and they gave us independence and they left. Now they are coming back with their schools. Because when you look at Nigeria today, when I was in the school, when I was in the university, the curriculum I used then is what my son used, and it's what my grandson is using now. It has not changed. And the world is moving, not at a slow pace. The world is moving at a very fast pace. When the educational system in Nigeria is becoming stagnant or retrogressing, what do you expect? Now, another university is coming to the country, a new one. This university will come with a different curriculum. And many Nigerians will key into it.
Yes.
Because you expect your children to have, okay, I was talking to somebody yesterday and I said, look, in those days, what do we do? If you finish your secondary school education, some of us will go out and say, I want to be a mechanic because my father cannot afford to send me to secondary school. But while studying this mechanic job, mechanic apprentice, practically, at the same time, he's going to technical school. Sister and Guide 1, Sister and Guide Part 2, Sister and Guide 3, which is equivalent to HND. And then it's more knowledgeable than somebody who attended the university. Because in those days, we say, if you want to be famous, go to the university. But if you want to become a technocrat, go to the polytechnic. Now, because of what? It's curriculum. Our curriculum is not practically oriented. There's a school in Ceylon, in Sri Lanka. It's a 3 years course. It's 1 year management. You study administrative studies, but it's 2 years. It's practical. And when you have your diploma in automobile engineering, you are fantastic. You can be able to build. You can be able to repair. If you study BSc, you are only studying part of designing. No, you learn how to design. Okay. You cannot fabricate. You cannot service. So then you become useless because we are not producing anything in the country. Then what do you want to design at first degree level? You cannot be a master in designing. You are not a fabricator. You are not a service engineer. Then you are in the middle. So if a school like this is coming with a very beautiful curriculum, you will see many Nigerian schools will follow suit. Yes, and many Nigerian students would like to go there, because once you go to this university and become a graduate, employment is waiting for you, either in London or in Nigeria or anywhere, because of the name of the school.
Because they will say, oh, he or she went to a notable
school. If Nigerian University Commission is saying, okay, we go ahead, come and establish your university, it's going to be a very good thing, because many people will see this as a sample. If you want to establish a university, you see this as a sample.
So it's indeed a welcome idea.
It's a welcome idea.
All right, let's take a look at the last story that we have from the Punch newspaper, and this says Apapa grid law. Lagos government evacuates abandoned trucks. Lagos State government, in collaboration with the Nigerian Port Authority (NBA) and the Nigerian Police, yesterday impounded 18 trucks and removed abandoned and indiscriminately parked truck on the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway. The enforcement came barely 48 hours after the Senate and the state government exposed the need for concerted effort to end the perennial interactable traffic gridlock in Apapa environment. Leading to the Senate Committee in Marine Transport in Lagos was the commission of the committee, Senate Wasiu Oshinlokun Sonny. Speaking during the enforcement exercise, the general manager of the Lagos Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Mr. Bolaji also explained that the decision, which was taken after the expiration of a removal order issued to the truck drivers, would ensure the general safety of the motorists and also allow unimpeded free flow of traffic around the entire Apapa axis. So I'm sure we all know about this that happened, I think 2 weeks ago, thereabout. So now the government has really taken the bull by the horn to making sure that that part of the road is very clear, and to haven't noticed that 18 truck has also been moved out of the road. So Engineer Ola.
Well, I pray this will be permanent, not temporary. This decision have been taken before now. Every government in power will say the same thing. They will clear the vehicles on the road, and they will come back. The vehicles will return again. Why don't they go to the root of the matter? What is the root of the matter? What is causing these vehicles to be at that particular place? This is what they have to go into, look into it, and provide solution to that, permanent solution to it. This is just ad hoc solution. The vehicles will return. Just give it 1 or 2 years, you will see that they will return back again, except a permanent solution is given to that particular problem. You will see, yes.
And what do you think the permanent
okay, you see, there are traffic laws that all these long vehicle, this trailers vehicle, they cannot ply all the roads. In most countries, if you go to the other countries, you see that only smaller, medium or semi truck that are allowed to go into the city centers and marketplaces to deliver goods, to discharge their goods. But in Nigeria, in Lagos especially, reverse is the case. You see a trailer entering street. It's not permissible.
And then even causing a lot of traffic.
Yes, sometimes you see trailer breaking down by the roadside. It's against the traffic law. But when the government is not doing anything about it, you only arrest when you know you have some monies or some levies to collect from the owner of the truck or the driver. But if the law is standard and is being monitored, that okay, if this type of lorry must not be found on the express road, but they are moving to Apapa and they leave Apapa, they exit Apapa, and they don't have places to park in Apapa. If those companies cannot provide parking space, there should be a way to do it, which is very simple. That okay, I have 10 trucks that are going to Apapa to load. Okay, once it's not my turn, if only 10 approved trucks will come in and enter. There should be a parking space somewhere at a distance that okay, when it's your turn, they'll call you, bring your vehicles, and you go inside. Okay, let me take a smaller example. Look at Nigerian buildings at Ikeja. And you see trucks parking outside the gate again. No. If it is your turn, you go inside, you load, and you leave.
What you just said brings me to on Sunday while we're going to church, we saw this police van. I think it was police van, or those who are into I think it was from the last map. They were actually picking these men who pack dirt. What do they call them?
Okay, bowlers.
Yes,
boys.
Yes. So they were packing them, they were catching them with their trucks. In fact, they were actually collecting their trucks from them. And then that was causing traffic. So after we move past a certain bus stop, moving forward, the next street that we're about to take a turn to, we saw the truck packing dirt, was on the road and causing a lot of traffic. We could not go, those who were coming could not even pass, those who were going could not pass through. And then my friend said, this is what we're talking about. If only the government have been able to know that they can actually use these people to do the work that they want to do, that this truck will not be here. They can actually use them and say, okay, since you guys are actually packing the dirt and making work easier for us, we'll have the truck parked somewhere, you just bring the dirt and pour it there, and then we'll do it. So rather than having them block the road, that's just like the illustration that you just said, because these trucks are so big and you are coming into a street where it is so narrow that only few cars can, in fact only one car can only pass the road, not to now talk of you have a big truck parked in front and then the car is trying to, so rather than just pick these people and collect their truck, deprive them of what they use in also eating, you can actually use them the right way. Okay, you have this thing, this is what you're doing, so how can we make it happen? You pack the dirt, you bring it to a certain spot. I know they are trying to do something good, because these people can also be crates, they can be nuisance as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I've seen them several times picking up generators from people's homes. Yes, those people.
They will tell you
They
that
can take anything. If you leave anything, even your extra tire, see, you want to change your tire and you leave it outside, you go inside, before you return, they are taking it away.
They will tell you.
But you see all those big refuse carriers, they have smaller trucks. They are available.
But I rarely see them.
No, it's the government that has to, okay, if you want to be a vendor and you want to be carrying debts, we want you to go into the streets with smaller vehicles. There are lots of smaller vehicles around. Government is aware of that. Exactly, this is what we are saying. There are lots of smaller vehicles that can carry debts around.
But they are not using them.
The government is all these vendors are not using them. If you want to clear the road, they have it all over the world. When I was in Saudi Arabia, I worked with those companies. We call them Baladia. Baladia means those town councils. They have these smaller vehicles. They wake up early in the morning around 5:30. You see them sweeping the road. They park the dirt, and the vehicles are so small that will not cause any obstruction at all on the road. The bigger ones are there on the federal highway, but you see the bigger ones entering streets. And then when you see these vehicles, they are dilapidated, they are dirty, they are not maintained. I don't know what to say.
Alright, so thank you so much. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the further stories that we have. Please stay tuned. Thank you so much for staying tuned. This is still your newspaper review on Cactv. Okay, so we'll take a look at the story that we have from the Nation newspaper. Our first story says Tinubu approves over 260 emergency road repairs nationwide. President Bola Tinubu has approved more than 260 road repairs interventions across the 360 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja. The Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, disclosed this on Thursday at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, while speaking with the journalists after the audience with President Bola Tinubu in the office. The minister will further disclose that the emergency repair on the 260 roads nationwide will gulp about 217 billion, added that the President Tinubu had approved more than construction works include project upgrades. According to the minister, the president has also approved the resurfacing of the Third Mainland Bridge, construction of Lekki Deep Seaport Road, reconstruction of 2 collapsed bridge in Enugu, and reconstruction of 2 locations on the Onitsha Owerri Road. Other road approved for the construction includes the upgrade of the ongoing Abuja Kefi Akwanga Lafia Road. So I think that's another story that's the first story that we have from the Nation newspaper. I'm really liking this because there's so much issue. Like I said, my auntie came back yesterday from the trip, and she actually came in through the road, and she complained bitterly how bad the road is, especially the Benin road. That particular spot, they had to sleep on the road that night. And it's so sad that we have a governor in that state, and then we have roads that are this terrible, just like we have in Ogun State. It's not even far-fetched. We also have in Ogun State bad roads everywhere. But I'm really excited that our president is really taking a bold step with the Minister of Work to make sure that this is is back to reality. So, Engineer Ola, what's your view?
So you see, it's a very good it's a very good step to take, because if you have good road in the country, it will it will make traffic flowing
Movement easy.
very, very easy. And another thing is that in terms of kidnappers in the country, when the road is good and the vehicles are moving freely, we'll have less of these kidnapping cases because of these bad roads. Anytime you're trying to dodge potholes and trying to drive very carefully on the road, kidnappers will come, they start shooting and they kidnap people and start asking for ransoms. But this step will be able to stop the activities to some extent. And also, farmers who are bringing their goods to the market, to be easier for them to bring their commodities from the farm to the market if the roads are good. But let's go back again to what we discussed in the first chapter of our discussion. We spoke about some items that the lifted ban on them, that they have to come into the country, and cement is among those items. Now, because of the reason that the Minister of Transportation is said, we would like to use concrete to construct our roads. Though it will be expensive and it will last longer, because you see that has become an annual case in Nigeria, that when you repair the road today in January, the next rainy season after that you have to repair the road again. Maybe when they use concrete to be better than using bitumen. Not that they will not use bitumen at all. They will only use bitumen for the surfacing, but for the foundation of the road they will use concrete. I think it's a very good thing, and very soon we'll be seeing the result. We clap for our minister.
Honestly, yes, we can't wait. We can't wait to see the work being put into action. That's what matters, is action that we want to see, and we are so hoping that this would pull through. Okay, so looking at the next story that we have, this says troops seize 983,350 liters stolen crude. The defense headquarters yesterday said troops on Operation Delta Safe, which is the OPDS, have seized 983,350 liters of crude oil, 144,980 liters of diesel, and 71,650 liters of kerosene in the last 2 weeks. Troops also destroyed 53 illegal refineries, 253 cooking ovens, and arrested 19 suspected oil thieves. Directive of Defense Media Operation March Gen Edward Buba, during a news conference at the DHQ yesterday, said the military will continue to fine-tune its operations to meet the changing security challenges in the country. Okay, so I'm actually liking the fact that this is actually coming to play. Having to there's just too much to say about this, Engineer.
Now you see, when there are lots of security challenges in the nation and they are not solved, we have lots of problems at our hand that we cannot solve. It's one of the major problems in Nigeria. Oil theft. Now, people will say there's no fuel, there's no diesel, there's no money. Look at what they are talking about. Over 1 million liters of combined petrol, kerosene, diesel, over 1 million liters of oil. That it will just go like that, and the money will not be accounted for. And you see, if all these things are not done, these are the areas where the economy is suffering. That you see people enjoying, riding on about 10, 12, 15 cars. You'll be wondering, what are you doing? This is what they are doing. kudos to the security people that are doing this job.
Yes.
Let's give credit to them. The Major General that is in charge of this operation is doing a fantastic job. More grace to his elbow.
Yeah.
If things continue like this, you see, because one thing is that when this government came into power, we are talking about Tompulo boys, that they are supposed to be in charge of arresting people who are doing bunkering. They were being accused of oil theft and stealing of crude oil. I was wondering what is really happening. But now that the security agents, that the military is going to this matter, we'll be able to unravel the riddle behind it. What is causing this problem? Nigeria is losing lots of money internally within ourselves. It's a good thing that our security people are doing a fantastic job. More grace to their elbow.
Yes, thank you so much. More grace to their elbow. They are really doing so much. Every week we keep hearing how they've been able to, get these thieves who are stealing from us, stealing from the nation, stealing from our country. So we'll take a look at the last story that we have, and this is the Israel story. This says Israel has dropped 6,000 bombs on Gaza since Saturday. The Israeli Air Force has dropped 6,000 bombs on Gaza since Saturday. It said late on Thursday. Dozens of fighter jets and helicopter attacked a series of terrorist targets of the Hamas terrorist organization throughout the Gaza Strip. So far, the IAF has dropped about 6,000 bombs against Hamas targets. The IAF said on X the attack has killed 1,500 Palestinians, and a third of them are children, according to the Palestinian health industry. 6,000. Okay, so we also have that. So going further, we also have the Washington Post has spoken to the military experts who have called the number of the strike, tagging the number of the munition is more than the US used in the month of its campaign against the ISIS in Iraq and Syria, and almost what the US used in its most intensive years of strike in Afghanistan. Wow, that is that is really a big one.
See,
so if what they have, I know that Israel has this ammunition at hand, and I really fear for what is coming if this is not being handled on time.
Well, you see, it's very, very disheartening, because when you watch the video clips of what is happening now, many civilians are dying. Though what is really happening there, I think, like I've said before, that the world leaders should look into the matter holistically, and they should not take side. Because this thing is becoming annual event, and many people are dying
daily.
And again, I want to look at this man called Netanyahu. Because when he was not there again, when somebody else was there, it was not as tough or as difficult as this. What I'm looking at, there may be some agendas that are not on the surface now. Because many children are dying. If you watch the clip, you see children dying. Those children are innocent. I'm not supporting what Hamas did. But what I'm saying is that now, if now you want to avenge on what happened and see the number of people that are dying, America tried their stay in Afghanistan. What you have used is almost equivalent to what the Americans used in Afghanistan for a number of years.
And this is
just within a week. Within a week.
And it's not yet over.
And it's not yet over. And you are now saying that, okay, all the Palestinians should evacuate. About 1.1 people should evacuate within 24 hours. How is it possible?
Where?
And the United Nations is telling you that, how are we going to evacuate these people? Look, this is a gimmick. I can say it. I'm not supporting Hamas, but I can say categorically that they want to occupy Gaza Strip, Gaza. Just let's be waiting. Let's be watching and be waiting. that the Israelites want to occupy Gaza. And if they don't provide a solution to this problem, it will escalate. There is a war already in Europe. The Europeans are fighting Putin. He's on one side. Now, there's another war. If it breaks out, which means everybody in the Middle East will be fighting Israel. And America, who is the police of the world, is not coming in to settle the matter, but saying we have our munitions standing by to assist Israel. So that is to say, when you are talking of that against when you say Israel, you are saying America. China is there standing by, watching the event that is unfolding in Africa. France is there standing by, watching the event that is unfolding in Africa. We are just praying that this thing does not lead to war, because what we can solve amicably. Palestine, this is your line, stay here. Israel, this is your line, stay here. And maintain your lane. But when you don't maintain your lane, you are dividing these people from so many things, like water. Before now, I just pray that peace will reign, so that we don't start counting deaths again. We just survived from what is the name of this deadly disease? What do you call this deadly disease that we just survived? COVID. Now this is another one again. And then my fear is Nigeria, Africa in general. Most of what we have in Africa in general now is coming from China. Some are coming from Europe. If there's any war in the Middle East, hey, it's a good danger. We are in trouble.
I pray this doesn't get to that point, and I really hope that they see reasons and come to a very amicable terms where they have to sit on a round table and talk about a way forward. Because if this continues, I fear for the masses who keep losing their life every day, those who know nothing about what is going on. Okay, so this is where we'll call it a wrap on today's newspaper review. It's been a fantastic time, and it's been good having you watch us all the way. I remain your wonderful host, Mother Dominic, and
as usual, my name is Oladipo. Be Nigeria.
Bye Nigeria. Remember to be kind to someone today. Remember to show love to someone today. Remember not to pay evil for evil, because that is not good. I'm sure you guys are experiencing or seeing what is happening in between the Israel and the Palestinians. So what the least we need is to pay evil for evil, because that will not do us any good. So have a lovely weekend. From us all, from THCAC TV, we say have a blessed weekend.